everyone, welcome back to the LEC. We are here, week 2 of playoffs. Rogue are 1-0 up versus Mad Lions, and if they win this series, if they win the next 2 games, they will face G2 next week for a chance to get to finals. Right there, mate?
Sorry, Kevin was in my ear and he was like, 3, 2, 1, magic. And it got to
Kevin,
me. Normally,
you keep ruining it.
Normally he just says 3, 2, 1 and go, and that's what I was expecting.
I'll break this side of the desk as well, Kevin. Okay?
Caught me off guard, right? Yeah, Kevin trolling us behind the scenes. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back for game 2. I was thinking to myself, right? Inspired went away, and you know that meme where it's kind of like your champion pool?
My champion.
My champion pool. So we saw Evelyn in game 1, and I'm like, okay, are we going to see Carzzy? Are we going to see Hecarim? Or what else are we going to see? Are we going to see him like, well, I got beat by this, so this is clearly the strongest right now.
Larssen did the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, we have the Lucian lock-in as well. All right. Well, I'm really curious as to how the drafts are going to be adapted. We're going to be jumping in soon. We're definitely going to need to see some shifts from Mad Lions. I believe they are now on the blue side. Because they did lose, they get choice of side selection, and they're going to be looking to bounce back in this series. It was not a great performance in game 1. It was a very one-sided stomp, and I know that Mad Lions have more in them and are capable of more. I think that Shadow was a huge detriment to the team in game 1, and I'm sure he's looking to bounce back in game 2. So we'll see what champion he gets put on. We'll see whether he's going to be on comfort or if he's going to bring out something different this time around.
And that's the thing, right? Because he was on comfort last game, and you summed it up really well. It's when they were losing before against Schalke, they then put Shadow onto the Lee Sin, put him onto something he was comfortable with, and he was able to pop off. But where do you go when you lose on comfort? Like, do you have those other picks? Do you have something strong that you can be like, okay, I can still carry on this? Or do you even stick for the same champion and run it back with the Lee Sin? We will find out in this draft, as Mad Lions on the blue side, as you say, Rogue on the red side. Mad, the expectation is that you get rid of, some of the more powerful picks. The Lucian, for example, is going to be removed. We'll see if Rogue decide to stick with the Lilia, Akali, Hecarim bans that they went through before. Instead, they say, well, we're red side, so we have to get rid of the Caitlyn. Oh, Mad Lions having none of this. Like, hey guys, Fnatic gave you
Get back on your Azir, Larssen.
I mean, Azir, Sejuani, and we know how to beat that.
Yeah, well, Mad Lions definitely taking away some things that Rogue had a lot of success with in the last game. The Gangplank also going to be banned away. Ashe is the expected first pick for Mad Lions, I imagine, and then Rogue going to respond with the Senna.
Good job so far.
I'm not taking any praise for that. I think that's like the most predictable
Ooh, they're hovering
of the current meta. Yeah, I imagine that's going to be the Senna.
Oh,
okay. Hecarim, okay.
Okay, that's nice. I like that. Still sticking to the self-made school of champion decision-making. But Hecarim is obviously a very strong pick. We haven't really seen Inspired play it at all during the regular season. I'm just checking to see if he played it in playoffs. He has yet to play it in summer.
We're seeing a different Inspired in this series today. Looks like we might see a slightly different Shadow as well if he does lock in this Graves. Not really known him for his Graves performances during the regular season.
I think it's one of those champions that I can see how it would work for Shadow though. Like,
carry jungler,
yeah. Carry jungler, a lot of agency, a lot of ability to influence the map, and can be, one of those hard carries when the game goes on. So I'm not too surprised by it, but as you say, not something we see Shadow on too often. In fact, I don't think we've seen him play it all of summer.
So, I know for a fact that Mad Lions love to lock in Renekton when they're going against champions that like to dive. Hecarim, obviously a very strong champion when it comes to trying to dive onto the backline. And I think that Renekton is one of those champions that, hey, if you're going to close the gap, then it just makes things easy for him. He can provide a lot of peel. And if he does get access to the backline, he does have more than enough damage to shut them down. But Rogue gonna respond with the Shen for Finn in the top lane. Definitely think that this could be a pretty solid matchup. Obviously in the early game, you're not gonna get that same level of prio. But I think that thanks to this Spirit's Refuge, you can mitigate a lot of the damage that Renekton is able to dish out. And we'll see how Finn handles himself as we move into the second phase of bans.
I mean, the Shen also gives you a second dive threat, because as soon as the Hecarim dives in, you chuck that Stand United onto him, and you can have 2 beefy bruisers on the back line. Lots of mid lane bans coming out here, though. LeBlanc removed by Rogue. Orianna going to get taken away as well. Wonder if we'll see the Twisted Fate ban, the Azir ban, some of these picks.
I think Rogue should consider banning Nautilus, if I'm being honest.
Yeah?
Just because I think that when you look at Mad's comp, right now the only engage they have is the Ashe. And I think that Naut would be really good at providing a lot of peel. They're going to take away the Taric to mitigate some of the burst. We saw this from G2 yesterday. I think that it was great, especially against dive comps. What I think is very cool about Taric is because, again, the more you're hitting, the more heals that you're able to get off. So when you're diving onto them, it obviously makes it very easy for Taric to make utilization of that, and it can provide a lot of very effective peel. So they're going to remove that one. But now I really think that Nautilus, Nautilus needs to be prioritized here, because I think it would have been a perfect pick for the Mad Lions. Of course, their usual response here is the Leona. I think that Leona doesn't have the same level of peel that a Nautilus can have when it goes up against dive. So we'll see how Mad Lions put. Maybe they'll choose to go for something like the Lulu, but I'm a little concerned about running Lulu into things like a Nautilus, especially with a Hecarim on there as well. Can be good depending on the circumstances, but they're going to stick to the classic. They're going to stick to what they know. And now Mad Lions have to blind pick a mid laner. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Zoe come out from Mad Lions right now. I think that it's something that Humanoid has had a lot of success with in the past, with things like the Orianna and the Azir already banned out. I think that it can fit very nicely into this composition that Mad have drafted.
Nice little prediction there, Vedius, as you say. Zoe for Humanoid. Just having a look, I don't actually think he's played it in Summer. Although he has had success on it previously, it doesn't look like it's a pick that he has really utilized in the last few months.
But I do remember him being quite an avid Zoe player.
No, he was a very good Zoe player, I think in spring. But he just hasn't really picked up the champion since then.
Well, it looks like Rogue looking to find an answer, and it will be the Syndra lock-in. So a bit of a powerful mid laner, can set up very strong ganks. I think that Syndra Hecarim can be pretty potent, but something that Ender talked a lot about yesterday was that when you're playing carry scaling junglers, typically what you need is strong agency in the lanes. Priority is so important because of what you're able to do with it. And I think the scary thing for Rogue is that it can be very easy for the Zoe to get early prio in mids. I think that it's possible for Mad Lions to get prio in bot as well. So I think that Mad Lions have actually got themselves a pretty solid draft to give Graves options to actually invade, get into the enemy jungle, and try and put this Hecarim behind. The question is, will Shadow flounder like he did last game, not utilize his prio properly and get punished for it, or will he be able to find those advantages and shut down Inspire to prevent him from being the carry like it was in game 1?
And I think for Shadow, it is really a defining moment. You really want to win this, otherwise you are 0-2 down with a place in the finals weekend on the line. Level 1, Shenanigans. Currently, Mad Lions all together in the bottom tri-bush. The thumbs up comes out from Kaiser.
We're casting golf now?
Subpar plays. Hey, I would love to cast golf.
Yeah.
Because that feels like a job where you can sit around, you can slowly sip your tea. Something happens, as long as you react to it in the next 5 minutes, you're pretty golden.
Hey man,
pretty golden.
I don't watch enough golf to know what it's like to cast golf. So I can't really comment. What I can say is that this is a bit of a slow early game. I do expect a lot of the action to come largely from the junglers. You know, we talked a lot about priority, who's going to get that push, where are they going to get it, and how are the junglers going to utilize it. You will notice, if you draw your attention to the summoner spells, that double cleanse is being run on the side of Rogue. I think this makes a lot of sense when you're playing against Ashe Arrow, Leona, and the Zoe bubble. So, like the respect being shown, but of course, fewer teleports, slightly weaker 2v2 in the bot lane. And as I say that, already we see a level 1 invade coming out from Shadow.
I love it from Shadow. Dashes across the wall just to get the damage onto Inspired. He's going to chase him all the way out of the jungle. Kaiser and Carzzy are facing off against Summer and VandeR, who are currently winning out on that trade, but this is going to be Wolves and a blue buff over to Shadow. It's a par 3, and currently he's on his second stroke of the match. That was a bit of golf terminology for you there, Vedius.
So this is kind of going as we expected. Honestly, I expected a little bit later, but I like how Shadow utilized his early power on the Grave to just bully the Hecarim out. Hecarim cannot really challenge you this early on, neither can the Senna. So Mad recognizing they have a very powerful 3-man unit, they can do the delayed invade, and now they've put Inspired a little bit behind. The question is, will Mad choose to split the map, or will Shadow look to immediately rotate over to his blue? blue. You can see that there is a little ward sitting on top of the blue buff, so they will have information as to whether or not Inspired chooses to do that split map. But the risk that they have, as a mid gank does happen, but not much is going to come off the back of that. The risk that they have is you'll notice in the top lane, the push is coming through from Orome. There was pressure being set up in the mid lane as well, and there's pressure in the bot as well. And this is what we were talking about. Early priority gives junglers so much agency and control, and it makes it harder for Inspired to do what he wants. So Shadow, he's going to take away the blue, he takes away the wolves, he's going to pick up his own blue, and this is going to put Inspired very far behind.
The question is, how quickly can Inspired get down towards this bottom side of the map? There's a Grump available for him. There'll be a Scuttle Crab in just a few moments' time as well. So he does have some camps to farm there.
The problem is, he might not even get that Scuttle Crab, because what we've often seen is bot lanes with their priority will actually rotate up and take the Scuttle Crab themselves. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Carzzy and Kaiser rotate up, but you can see how aggressively VandeR's posturing, suggesting that a gank is on the way.
Hook lands onto Kaiser. He's just going to be able to back away. Summer and VandeR just farming up here underneath the turret. As you say, Inspired was waiting just around the corner, and now it looks like Mad are just going to go for the double scuttle. And we said we wanted Mad to use the priority they have in the lanes to put Inspired behind. Well, that is exactly what they're doing right now.
Yep. Very good early gameplay. Definitely a different look from Shadow. Game 1, just a blip on the radar as they're continuing to dominate in this early laning phase. And I find it quite funny that Shadow has literally just walked through mid lane and just been like, yep, nice day, have a wonderful day. Just going to keep on going with my jungle camps. Thank you very much. And Rogue really can't do anything about it. Now, of course, that's not resulting in any significant gold discrepancies coming out on either side, but this will start to mount up. You can already see an XP difference between Shadow and Inspired, but those camps are going to respawn, and then Shadow's going to be able to pick those up much earlier and keep the pressure on Inspired pretty consistently during this early game. It means he can get that level 6 first, delay the playmaking opportunities from Rogue, and ultimately try and keep them on the back foot.
What we did just see is Larssen understanding that they have been set behind a little bit in the jungle, actually pushing in here, getting a control ward in this bush, and then a further ward on the wolves to try and just track Shadow as much as possible. Finn going in, didn't use the flash taunt, instead just allowed Orome to flash away, but this gives Inspired the opportunity to do some counter jungling of his own.
Yeah, they have information, and they're able to steal away some things, but now Mad looking for a play, TP as well.
Oh, that was beautiful! Oh, we need to see a replay of that, because VandeR actually stopped the Zenith Blade with a hook so that then Kaiser was not in range to auto-attack for the stun. Like, that is next level Nautilus play there. That's actually really impressive.
They also use the Curse of the Black Mist, deny Orome a target to actually dive on top of, and if it can quickly pan up towards the top lane, assuming no action's going to happen, yeah, I believe this wave is now bouncing towards Finn, which means that Orome's dominance during the early laning phase is kind of screwed now, because initially the Shen took an early replay. We're going to get a look back for you, Medic. You can break this one down.
So watch this. Kaiser is about to go in with the Zenith Blade, and usually as a Nautilus here, it's actually quite difficult to do anything. He chucks out the hook, knocks airborne Kaiser, pushes him far enough away that then the shielded Daybreak, the stun, can't connect. That is actually just next level play there from VandeR. Hook's going to try and get him away as he gets into Curse of Black Mist. Humanoid coming in, has the Proto Belt stolen away, the flash from Summer into the cleanse, but Humanoid continues to chase and gets first blood in the bottom lane.
Wow, Mad were really committed to killing Summer and VandeR there, and they were able to make this one work out. Now Shadow is on the top side of the map. We'll run into Inspired.
Inspired doesn't have a huge amount of mana here. You can see with that devastating charge, he's actually run out of it completely, and now Finn is stuck underneath the tower with a not very healthy horse. However, Larssen's on his way up, has the unleashed power. And this, you could greed a little bit for it. Shadow gonna go across to the blast cone. Larssen realizing perhaps they're trying to collapse on him as here comes Humanoid once again. Larssen gets the knockback, has to dodge away from the Battlestar, but can't do it. Flashes from the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, lands another sphere, but Larssen is chased down the barrier. Might be another Shen ultimate, in fact, as the damage comes down and Shadow goes down. I was wondering where on earth the barrier came, but Finn in time with the stand united.
Yeah, really good ultimate there from Finn. Of course, he will lose a bit of farm on the top side of the map, but that was worth it because Shadow committed very hard to trying to get that kill, and it does not pay off. You can see that Mad trying very desperately to force a lot of plays in the early game. They've committed 2 TPs towards bot. They heavily committed to an invade in the enemy jungle, and so far it's only resulted in 1 kill, but the goal is still very even. Rogue feeling very comfortable, especially now that Inspired is actually ahead in terms of farm.
He's picked up his Sheen first item, not even completed the jungle item yet. Will note, though, Rogue no longer have the global pressure of a Shen. He doesn't have teleport. It's only halfway out of his cooldown. The Stand United was just used. So if MAD are able to find a pick, find a play, they know that Finn won't be able to work his way down there. Of course, Orome can't do it either because he doesn't have anything available on this Renekton. Continues to trade in the top lane against Finn. Finn trying to use that passive, use the shielding, use the dash to keep Orome busy, to keep him at bay, but Orome is winning out on these trades. Still stacking up that cull. Let's look where we are in terms of items across the board. Carzzy has a Bilgewater Cutlass complete on the Ashe, as expected, and Hansama on his way to the Manamune, but is still quite a way away.
Shadow will be able to steal away that red buff, as the observers highlighted for us. First Drake is on the board. A bit of a late take, if I'm being honest, 8 minutes into the game. Typically, this is where you'll see Rogue actually swap and play for an early Herald, but Shadow kind of ahead of the curve here, going to look to solo this one out as mid is being pushed, and so is top lane. You can see on your minimap, going to draw your attention to the Senna that is slowly making her way towards this objective, but Zoe's acting as interference, trying to stop any Rogue members from interfering from the Graves solo take. So kind of recognizing what Rogue typically do and having a good answer. Ignite comes down.
Oh, that's just so... It was an Ignite from the passive as well. It wasn't even like a proper Ignite there from Humanoid. He's just trying to put a little bit more damage down in the top lane. Rift Herald is now secured, and Hansama might feel like he's on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, the play now is to go straight to Drake, I think. You know where the Rogue players are on the top side of the map. You have a wave pushed in bot. You also have the Rift Herald. Alright, but he's actually just going to focus on taking his topside camp. He's going to hand the blue up over. I felt like there was a really easy window there where he could have just gone straight to Drake. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, but based on the state of the map and with the information that MAD had, I feel like they could have just made that quick rotation.
I feel like they can still do it around now, actually. They've kept their bot lane down towards the bottom side of the map. Orome being very sneaky here. I don't think he wants to make a play. This is more just Alcove Gaming. He's trying to get himself away as Hansama and VandeR will retreat from the lane as well. Rome's actually going to stay around. Now he's spotted. And yeah, VandeR and Hansama are like, oh, there he was all along. Crocodiles can bounce out from anywhere, Vedius. I've actually been playing a new game, an MMORPG called New World. It's like in preview at the moment. And it's crazy where the crocodiles can come from. As the dive comes in the mid lane, and it looks like Humanoid might die as Finn. Trying to collapse on him. Humanoid very speedy from the more sparkles, but Inspired should be able to get him underneath the tower.
Well, no crocodiles in that play, but Rogue certainly trampled Humanoid down with some horsies and ninjas, and they are able to get themselves a kill. This will now stop MAD from being able to properly set up for this Mountain Drake, and it will give Rogue priority over the mid lane and a bit of safety as they look to secure this objective. And I think that, like, this is a missed opportunity for MAD, in my opinion. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world, of course, losing that first Drake, but I think that there was a window where, because they were resetting, because they were delayed, they were a little slow in terms of setting up for that objective. Rogue are going to take that one away. And again, gold's still very even. I feel like that, again, I don't kind of want to keep harping on about MAD, but they were so well set up in the early game to keep the pressure onto Inspires, but because of some of the decision-making and the plays that they ended up making, it feels like that Inspired hasn't really suffered from what could have been a massive early game deficit. So here we can see Inspired and Finn, good flash drawn, the Senna ultimate comes through as well. Humanoid does burn his flash and he gets some of the bonus movement speed from his W, but unfortunately it's not quite enough to escape from the ghosted up Inspired and Finn that were able to run him down, secure the kill, and secure the first Drake of the game.
Rogue, as you say, pretty even on gold now. I will note that Finn is miles behind Orome in terms of CS. 36 down on this Shen. Has just been moving around the map a lot, trying to play with his team. You can see he is about 800 gold behind. So he's in a bit of a deficit. Larssen still topping the gold charts as expected on this Syndra, with the Illuden's Echo now complete. And with Mountain Drake down, with Rift Herald still being down, you expect it's going to be a little while before either of these two teams try to force another fight.
Looks like it for now. They're just going to try and secure themselves some early plates. The Rift Herald is going to be running out soon. Shadow needs to make a decision as to where he's going to invest. I think bot lane will be the play, given that we can see the Ashe pathing towards that side of the map. You'll notice that Finn recognizes he could be in some danger, so he's going to disengage. Graves hovering as well. And using the Rift Herald, they can actually just take that tower completely. So that'll be a lot more gold into the back pocket of Carzzy, setting up this Ashe for success, get that early Blade of the Ruin King completed. And then MAD can start looking for picks, start roaming around the map, utilizing this Ashe hour a little bit more.
I want to see that pick potential. You know, you have the arrow into the collateral damage. It's just so powerful with the solar flare as an initiation tool if you need it, Mad. Want to start to try and find some of these connections because for the moment they are 1 kill to 2 down and only a small gold lead ahead.
So I want to draw attention to the fact that Carzzy did not immediately clear that wave. He actually waited for the next wave to arrive, and this is the basic concept in pro play of stacking a wave. Rather than hitting a tower with 1, he's now actually hitting a tower with 2, plus the Rift Herald, making this push harder to stop, but Rogue forced the engage.
Humanoid has TP, so does Orome, and the engage comes in. You can see the damage already down as Carzzy's going to fall, and Larssen could just open up straight onto Humanoid. The unleashed power is being used, and Humanoid just about able to survive, but Inspired's got a double kill, and there's the third as Humanoid falls. Orome in the midst of it all has to retreat underneath his tower, and, well, Mad knew it was coming, and Rogue didn't care at all. They just totally destroy Mad in the bottom lane.
Surprised that Larssen didn't actually get the stun there, but a really good force coming out from Rogue. The game plan was clear from Mad. Stack up the waves, use the Rift Herald, drop it down, get all that money onto Carzzy, and because he got a little too close to the turret, VandeR saw his opportunity to force the engage. Notice that Larssen already on the way down as well. Flash ultimate onto Carzzy, the ultimate already coming down onto Inspired, and here's that dive combo that you can see with the Shen, the Hecarim. Carzzy doesn't even get to move. Leona not providing that same peel as something like a Tarek typically could. Meanwhile, on the top side, Larssen's able to get that kill out onto Humanoid, and then Rogue just chasing down the stragglers. Really good engage from Rogue. Now they're 5 kills to 1.
Yeah, and Inspired is so big now. Look at that, second highest damage in the game on that last fight. And at the start, we said, hey, Shadow seems to be more comfortable. He's getting this early lead. They stole away the blue. Mad Lions had all of this advantage. And it's just fallen by the wayside. Rogue scaling. They have power in this Syndra. They have power in this Hecarim. And they are looking to secure their spot in the finals weekend. Of course, the winner of this series plays up against G2 next Saturday, but also secures a spot in Worlds groups. The loser of this is in play-ins. The winner goes to groups. And getting that extra time to prep, getting that extra time to boot camp can be so influential on a good Worlds run.
It certainly can be. Or the play-ins buff could come into it.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, that's the interesting thing about Worlds.
I'm gonna say, Vedi, I think most teams would pick going into groups rather than play-ins.
They definitely would. In any case, still a long series left to go. Rogue currently have the advantage with the 1 game up, but the game's still very close. Rogue found a very good fight there, but you'll notice that the gold is still very even. Some big items have come through for Mad. They're going to be trading towers on the top side of the map, and of course, when we get to these fights, I do think the Rogue inherently have the advantage, but Mad have a lot of damage threats. They have the Renekton to act as when Rogue dive in, he's going to have easy access onto these frontline targets, and if Mad can just play straight up front to back, I think that there are ways in which they can come back into this game. Arrow comes through.
Only hits onto VandeR. Hansama using the Curse of Black Mist to try and get away. Inspired coming in from the side as well, but he's going to dive into a 4v1. Has to jump away. The Zenith Blade connects. There's the Dawning Shadow for a bit of a shield. Shadow down to 200, but already Humanoid's got a kill. And now Mad can continue on the offensive. Larssen coming in, though. He's going to get through the bush. Knocks the Scatter the Weak back. The Unleashed Power comes out onto Carzzy, but look at Carzzy. He's doing so much work. Almost kills Larssen and survives. Mad Lions with an incredible fight in the topside jungle.
All right. Ooh, good damage coming out from Humanoid, but not going to quite get that kill on to Hansama. You know, EU Ashe was a bit of a meme, but I feel like we got a couple of good Ashe players now. Carzzy's positioning and execution of the Ashe there was flawless. If it weren't for that Shen ultimate, Larssen almost certainly would have died. And when we get the replay up, we can highlight some of the missteps I feel that we actually got from both sides, because you'll notice here that Shadow hard commits to this engage onto Hansama. Actually puts him in a bit of a detrimental situation as he really fumbles the execution here. Inspired comes in looking to shut him down, but then Kaiser comes in with the clutch, flashes in, provides the chain CC, allows Mad to get that initial kill. Then here we see that VandeR's actually going to use his stopwatch, and that means that Larssen doesn't have the body block. He flashes in, takes that huge amount of damage from Humanoid rather, and that's what gives Carzzy the opportunity to actually rail onto Larssen, preventing the Shen from getting into the fight and instead being forced to use the ultimate to keep his mid laner alive. So a couple small missteps there that Mad were actually able to take advantage of, and again, huge props to both supports doing everything that they could.
Great play there from Mad. They are going to secure their second Rift Herald of the game. We'll note an Infernal Dragon went over to Rogue while all of that was happening, so they are on a clock. As you said earlier on, it is quite a late Dragon clock, you know, 17 minutes, looking at 26, 27 before we really get up towards that Ocean Soul, but we've already seen how powerful Ocean Soul can be across the course of the weekend. In terms of items though, Carzzy's finished his Blade of the Ruin King. Luden's now finished on Humanoid. He's got a needlessly large rod to back it up. Finn has completed his Titanic Hydra. Still 76 CS behind the Renekton. Just a tad, just a small sum. It is but a scratch of a CS differential.
I mean, Finn's like, all right, my job in this game is to ult, to Spirit's Refuge stuff, and to taunt people.
Look at the gold difference, though. He's 2,100 gold behind.
I mean, that's what the gold deficit is coming from right now. You know, that's why I think the gold gap is a little deceptive, because even though Orome is much farther ahead, I think that Finn can still offer a huge amount of value in these fights. Inspired has now just hit level 11, which is going to be huge, because he's going to have that second point in his ultimate. And with the Trinity Force done, he's going to be a huge threat onto the backline. So I think these upcoming fights are going to be very intense. We can see right now Mad setting up for Carzzy to push in the bot wave. He's also going to have the Rift Herald to help support him. And Madline's just getting deep vision towards the bot side jungle.
At the moment, Larssen, without teleport on this Syndra, is in a side wave. They know that he cannot affect this lane at all. So he's still up there. Mad Lion's given free reign just to push in. They will get at least one turret out of this. The Rift will probably stop before its second charge. But Shelly is having a field day. Actually going to get the second charge in here as well, because the sleep connects on Finn. Finn, you're napping on the job. Get a good sleep schedule, my man. You won't fall asleep in the middle of a fight like that again.
Now Mad going to be pretty happy with that trade in towers. 3-2 in their favor for the time being. Slight gold advantage. Kind of looking at neutral objectives and realizing there's not a huge number to play for. This is a window where you could be talking about maybe you want to try and freeze some side lanes. Maybe you want to try and pick up some extra farm. Unfortunately for Finn, he does have the Titanic Hydra, so it's a little harder for him to actually set up a freeze. Meanwhile, Syndra doesn't feel super comfortable after pushing in that top wave. We may actually see Orome set up a freeze towards the top side of the map right now, depending on what Mad's next goal is. They could look towards playing for the mid tower. Let's have a look. He is not looking to freeze at all. He's like, nope, I am not doing that.
It's the epitome of the dog in a burning building. This is like, this is a freeze?
I think that, I mean, if he's pushing this wave out, it suggests to me that Mad is looking to play for the mid-tier 1, because he's going to try and hard shove this towards the tier 2, then move through the top side jungle with Graves, who's going to hand over that blue buff to the Zoe, and then they're going to deny as much vision and maybe look to find a pick as Rogue is playing towards the bot side of the map.
Yeah, Rogue are playing towards this next Ocean Dragon. A minute 40 on it. They have a couple of control wards in their inventories that can scatter those. A little, you know, dusting of control on this bottom side river, and they're going to reset now and try and get some more. Larssen pushes in the bottom wave. Unsummer catches in the mid, and Mad use their little chance here to get in towards this river and get some control for themselves. Of course, with the Ocean Dragon being alive, there's more pushes, there's more places to hide, but with Hawkshot, Carzzy can keep them relatively safe as they do go for some of these face jacks.
So the game pretty neutral, definitely not as one-sided as it was in Game 1. Again, at the beginning of Game 1, we talked a lot about how Rogue have something that they want to prove, and again, I think that they've showcased that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best that we have here in Europe. I still have some question marks around Shadow's performance. Like Game 1, he wasn't exceptional. He got bullied a lot. He made a lot of small mistakes, and I think that Shadow could have pushed his advantage in the early game, and he's had a couple of execution errors here in Game 2, but still, a lot of the series left, and we'll see how he progresses. A young player, a lot of young players on both sides going to be going to Worlds for the first time. Europe, of course, does have this tendency of sending rookies to Worlds and accomplishing quite impressive feats. Hopefully we get to see the same thing coming into this year, but so far both these teams have showcased some good stuff. Let's see as we set up now for the next Ocean Drake.
And it is Rogue who have total control of the river right now. The Hawkshot goes across towards the Wolves, doesn't really spot out Rogue. Finn is in the bottom lane, teleport used by Orome to rejoin the battle, but Inspired now in the pit. Shadow doesn't have any vision in here, doesn't have a control ward to put in. The Scrying Totem comes down, but Mad get it cleared out straight away. Shadow dives into the back of the pit, trying to get into that bush, but he's been spotted out. Finn now looking to step forward, can be a key engage tool alongside VandeR. The Dragon down to 4,000 HP. Orome trying to dash forward, Paddle Star doesn't connect. Dragon resets. Mad once again looking for this fight because they don't want to get off Soul Point. The knockback onto Kaiser. As he goes low, Inspired still just scything away at the Dragon, looking for the smite bite. Shadow dives in, there's the Unstoppable Onslaught. They're trying to dive onto the backline as the Dawning Shadow comes out and it's Inspired who gets it. Orome dives in, but he goes down straight away. Rogue get the Dragon, get a kill, and get the hell out.
Yeah, it's very difficult for Mad to actually force any kind of fight. The double cleanse on the side of Rogue doesn't even get expended, and It felt like that Mad were just going for the 50-50 on the Drake rather than committing to any sort of engage. Rogue ended up coming out on top, and while they are still at a gold deficit and lose that mid-tier 1, they're currently at 3 Drakes. So let's see. You can see that Kaiser sitting in the back line, doesn't use his ultimate just yet. Now it comes through to try and help steal away the Drake, but Inspired's able to just lock that one down at the very last second. Orome now finds himself in the middle of 5 Rogue players. And I wasn't quite able to catch where that Carzzy ultimate went down to, but it clearly wasn't impactful as Rogue didn't really feel threatened at all. And I think a lot of that came off the fact that Humanoid wasn't able to land any initial poke at the start of the fight. Rogue staying just out of arm's reach of that Zoe damage. And on top of that, Kaiser being chunked at so heavily meant that a large part of the front line from Mad also disappeared.
And an issue for Kaiser in some of these fights is the fact that he is a primary engage tool for Mad Lions, and if he can't find a flank position, he's kind of just chucking his face forward and looking for a good solo player. And as soon as you do that, if you get hit by a single scatter the weak, you're just chunked out completely. Like, he doesn't even have gargoyles complete yet. He's only sitting on a Negatron cloak and a chain vest, so it's so difficult for Kaiser if that poke isn't hitting to really do too much more. Humanoid gets the unleashed power taken down onto him. Larssen dived on as well as Finn comes in with a stand united, and there's a fight in the mid lane over not really too much. Carzzy opening up the range focus, the arrow connects, the solar flare doesn't, and VandeR just about manages to flash across the wall. He will survive and no one dies.
So, a bit of a crazy skirmish in the mid lane. Well, I think just started as a bit of a back and forth between the two mid laners.
Yeah, it was the two mid laners slap fighting.
Evolved into a huge team fight with so many members getting out with blinking health bars on both sides. No one ends up dropping though. Mad still holding onto the gold lead.
I think importantly though, you can look at some of the summoners that are down, because we do have 2.5 minutes, or almost 3 minutes on the Drake. Larssen no longer has flash or cleanse. VandeR no longer has his flash. So with Humanoid still having a flash of his own, with Carzzy still having his flash, with Kaiser still having that engage potential, actually makes it a lot easier for Mad Lions to find a pick, because they know Larssen and VandeR can't escape if they get locked up.
Well, that's certainly true. But for now, Mad are not going to force anything. They know that the Drake is still a ways away, and they're just focusing on farming up, looking for potential picks. Remember that a fight this early on could result in a Baron as well, but Mad are just going to be quite content with stealing away these jungle camps, trying to keep Inspired away from getting any more gold.
He's still in a really good position. Like, he's got completed warrior, he has Trinity Force, like, the Hecarim is still going to do a lot of damage, and Larssen is being funneled in a side lane. This is what we see Rogue do, right? They are so good at just saying, hey, Larssen, between minutes 15 and 30, we're just going to give you a lot of gold.
The problem is he doesn't have teleport, which then he's also the wave clear, which means that Mad have easy access onto this tier 2, and they're going to take this one away for free. Kaiser goes in.
There's the solar flare, Dawning Shadow coming out, but Finn is there in time. Inspired's already down. As Shadow goes down, Kaiser able to get the stopwatch off. Carzzy able to survive as well, and Larssen late to the party.
Reasons why you can't just send your mid laner to a side lane. Like, it was so easy for Mad to just force that engage, especially without any cleanses available on Hans Armor. It meant that the dive could come through, they get a quick kill onto Inspired. They don't convert it into the tier 2 tower though. Larssen was able to recall, get back into mid in time, and it will just be a kill going in favor of Mad. But it's something Rogue have to respect. Like, you can't just send Larssen off to a side lane when you don't have TP, because things like this will happen.
Rogue might have to respect it, but they respectfully disagree with you right now, as it looks like Larsen's going to go down towards the bottom lane.
This is fine. Like, a situation like this is okay, because he's just going to shove that out. The problem is if you... So, all right.
Show us, mate.
So, the thing is, there are, like, lines, right, on the map, where, like, if you cross a certain point, then you've overextended. So this is the usual line, right, which is basically just the river. And once you've crossed this line, so you can see, look. Notice that the Renekton is backing right now because the wave is now going past this line, and because he doesn't have control over this area of the map, it is no longer safe for him to overextend. So the problem with that last play was that Syndra was pushing all the way past the line through the top side of the map that was usually here, which meant that there was not going to be enough time for him to be able to get back to base, so Mad could just push in through mid. Now you'll notice that this bot wave is safe for them to push because they have control over this bot side of the map. So, like, it's important that you utilize where you have pressure and respect it, and I think it was a good example here of, like, Finn can now push the wave because he knows his form, but he has Shen ultimate.
Arrow comes out, Solar Flare's going to hit Inspired as well. He used the Unstoppable Onslaught to try and get away. The sleep comes in. Kaiser diving onto the backline as Larssen uses the Unleashed Power, but Kaiser is still very tanky. VandeR going to get dived on by Shadow. VandeR takes down Kaiser, Shadow takes down VandeR. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Mad Lions have total control of the river. Dawning Shadow doesn't connect. Humanoid acting as a bodyguard right now, trying to dive in. Larssen actually walked away from this fight and is now slowly making his way back in there. Ignite's being used. Rogue, they're being flanked. Orome is off towards the top side and they don't know about it. Carzzy started up the dragon. It's secured. Shadow takes it. Rogue now trying to use this time to get into the mid lane, but Humanoid's going to open up with some paddle stars, and they do a huge amount of damage. Mad should just disengage this, but Humanoid has other ideas. He dives in, sleep lands onto Finn. Shadow won the flank position. And it looks like Rogue should just get out of this one.
Cool. So, Rogue do not get the Ocean Soul. Good fight that went in favor of Mad there. Carzzy surviving with literally the smallest amount of HP.
He's still going.
No,
Humanoid.
Start the Baron off. VandeR has rejoined the fight. Kaiser's on his way.
Humanoid is flanked here. Blast cone available for him, but he's knocked back to it. He still gets over the wall. That's how that works.
Wait, Shadow?
Shadow. Oh, wow. Okay, that was not good.
Shadow ends up just dying here, and this could be a free Baron going for Rogue. They're 5 men strong. Finn TPs after getting a reset off, and like, unless Humanoid makes the clutch play, there's going to be very little that they can do. He needs to get back to base, reset.
I don't think Rogue are going to do it. I don't think Rogue are going to do it.
Wait, why? They should just do Baron.
I think they don't have the quickest Baron in the world.
I mean, they don't, but I'm... All right. We can talk about that a little bit later. Let's have a look at this initial fight. So, first things first, keep an eye on Larssen in this fight and what he's able to do. Lands the stun onto Carzzy, recognizes quickly, Q into ult, but the heal then comes through from Carzzy. Carzzy just barely survives, but Larssen does everything that he can to win this fight for his team. VandeR's then soaking up damage, of course he dies, but if Carzzy dies there, this is a one-team fight for Rogue, and they end up getting the Ocean Soul. Of course, because he lives, they're able to turn it around. They have better setup to be able to convert that for the Ocean Drake, and they're able to deny that away from Rogue. So clutch stuff coming out from Carzzy. Good heal there, and it was a very close fight that really could have swung in Rogue's favor.
And after it, we saw a little bit of mispositioning once again from Shadow. 3-3-1 on this. Graves had a terrible Lee Sin performance in game 1. Seems to be stepping up just a little bit, but it's a game of inches sometimes in games like this, and that was, again, as you said, an uncharacteristic mistake.
We've had a couple of mechanical errors coming out from Shadow, and there I think like Mad were a little split. Perhaps Shadow was setting up for a very deep flank, but then he ends up just getting collapsed on because no one is really there to assist him as Humanoid gets engaged on. And again, I think that could have been a window where Rogue decided to force the Baron. As you said, maybe they were concerned because their Baron is a little bit slow, so they don't take the risk. Instead, they reset on the map. They're going to look to play for the next Ocean Drake. And in the meantime, Mad have found an opportunity to be able to take this top tower.
Will be secured by them. 1,000 gold between the two teams. We are starting to see, you know, those 2-3 item AD carries coming in now. Blade of the Ruin King and the Rune End's complete for Carzzy. He's on his way to an Infinity Edge, which will just make every single one of those shots rattle out the damage even more. On the other side, Han Summer has a Black Cleaver, an Edge of Night for some protection from Humanoid and from the arrows, of course, and the Manamune fully stacked up. It's completed in its Mura mana form. Larssen has now got himself a Void Staff. Just going to be putting so much DPS down, like, into a Gargoyles, into the Merc Treads that we already see on Humanoid, that we see on Kaiser, into the double lockets that we are, double Aegis of protection that we are seeing from Orome and from Shadow. It is so powerful. Expect those both to be built, of course, into the Death's Dance next item. Right now, Mad trying to gain control of the jungle, and Rogue is slowly stepping in, slowly trying to regain vision in their own jungle, but with a minute and a half on the clock, a minute and a half before an Ocean Soul fight, you can sense the tension in the air, Vedius.
Yeah, Mick, you did a bit of a check-in with the items, and I think that some really big breakpoints are being hit, and the fact that the Void Staff has now just come through for Humanoid means that both mid laners are feeling very strong right now, and I think they're going to be very influential in these upcoming fights, because one of the big issues that Mad Lions have with their comp is they don't have a huge amount of access to the backline. So, as the game goes later and later, Han Summer's going to continue to get stacks, and I'll check with our observers very quickly how many stacks that she's currently sitting on. But the more she gets, the more range she's going to get, and the more frontline she actually has to be able to play around, which means that because that backline access doesn't exist, Mad are going to find these fights harder and harder, which means that you rely a lot on Humanoid to be able to land poke initially, so that when you enter these fights, you have a health advantage, which is why these two mid laners are so very important.
Oh, Shadow. Oh, Shadow, oh, Shadow, oh, Shadow, oh, Shadow, oh, Shadow, oh, no! Larssen was spotted out, I'm not sure. How is he out of the bush? Finn going forward, Shadow with the sidestep, and now it's actually a very good fight for Rogue as Finn flashes in. Straight on to the damage, but here's the unstoppable onslaught onto the back line as they look for the damage on Orome. Larssen unleashes the power, but Orome's still alive. Now he goes down. 2 kills down. Kaiser's going to fall as well as stun. The scatter of the week from Larssen was beautiful, and Carzzy, Shadow, and Humanoid have to run for the wins. And it looks like Humanoid, just dodges to the side of the scatter of the week. Flash hook connects and Zoe goes down. Rogue now turn their eyes to the Ocean Dragon. Carzzy, well, he blast coned over. And the Ocean Dragon is not too happy about that. Shadow could get into this bush, could steal it away. He can quick draw, he's in. They put the ward down. Shadow makes himself known. They know he's there now. I'm not sure why he stepped out and he has to quick draw back across. But he has Smite, and Rogue do not go on Shadow. Look for it. Get the steal off. Make it work. He dodges away. It's got to be down to about 3,000 HP. Rogue still doing it. Could just drag it out. No, just drag it out. Just get it out of the pit. Make it hard.
No, just stop. I think they should really just stop.
Well, they're not going to. Shadow dives in. He looks for it. He gets it! VandeR swings down the anchor in the end, but Shadow did everything he could to keep Mad in the game.
Yeah, that's why I think Rogue should have just stopped. If they stopped hitting the Baron, they could have waited for Inspired to join, and then they would have been better set up to actually secure that Ocean Soul. Because they kept damaging it, it put it within damage threshold range for Shadow to be able to steal that one away. But observers, when we get the replay up, can you show us what Shadow can see? Does he actually get vision on Larssen? Because it looked like initially Larssen just stepped out of the brush, and that actually gave him the frame of mind to make that quick sidestep in order to avoid the taunt from Finn. We'll see if we have an opportunity for this replay as Rogue is setting up for the Baron. Shadow is still dead. And it looks like we're not going to get that replay as the Baron is going to kick off.
Yeah, with Shadow being dead, this is actually a really easy Baron call for Rogue. It's already down to 9,000 HP. Humanoid trying to do what he can, but doesn't land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. And Mad, you got to dive in, you got to do something soon. Orome's teleported in, and Mad, 4 members strong and now looking for the push, but you can see it's already down to 4,000 HP, and they go in. The engage with an unstoppable onslaught, the damage coming out. Orome's going to go down. Dawning Shadow, not quite enough, but he ticks, booms as Larssen takes the kill. Kaiser's second on the menu, and Rogue are just sweeping Mad away in the river. Shadow, can you do something miraculous? The unleashed power has already been used, but Larssen diving forward, stepping in, trying to get Mad on the back foot as they retreat back towards where their blue buff once stood. Carzzy coming in. All the damage dealers for Mad are still alive, and these 3 guys could put the team on their shoulders, but at the moment, the Lion's roar looks more like a cat's, as you can see Rogue just get another kill and go back towards the Baron. Mad Lions whimpering.
Shadow's still alive though. His Smite, I believe, is coming off cooldown very soon.
Can you get into the back of the pit? The blast cone's there, but Rogue has done such a good job. Oh, Shadow dives in way too early. Dodges back out with the collateral damage. He's still alive. Carzzy trying to put the damage down with the volley as well from the side, but the healing coming out from Summer is just too much. Shadow onto the blast cone. Finn, you're going to dash across. He's already down. The Smite comes in. Inspired secures it. Now Carzzy's going to get chased out. Summer and Larssen will go across. Carzzy goes down. Shadow, we've seen you die in this position before, and I'm sorry, your fate will be the same once again. This fight, I have to feel. He's going to try and back in the bush, but Inspired, that's a devastating charge to be sure. Summer even puts out the last embrace to make sure that Shadow can't get away.
And it's Rogue that come out on top in the fight once again. Beautifully played from Rogue, a lot of patience, noticing that rather than go for the 50-50, they just wait for Mad to overcommit and overextend, and they're able to walk away with the Baron. Larssen, now, he doesn't realize that Kaiser's sitting in the brush. Kaiser not going to use his Hex Flash to dive on top of Larssen. In fact, it's Rogue who's diving on top of Kaiser.
Inspired's chasing here. Onslaught of Shadows will get the lockup onto Kaiser. The Zenith Blade, Solar Flare doesn't connect, and this might be 2. It's Humanoid's going to get chased away. Larssen actually eats the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and with the Dawning Shadow coming out, that's 2 quick kills to Rogue. And yeah, this game has totally turned on its head. Vedius, 3,000 gold lead for Rogue. They have Baron buff for the next 2 minutes. They can just try and knock in these towers.
Well, we talked about how close these fights could be, and it feels like that it's largely just coming down to execution. Rogue is stepping up on the day. Larssen is having a stellar performance, and
depth charge.
Now it looks like Mad are going to get caught out again.
Knocked up in the jungle, Inspired. Pretty sure he didn't want to go that way, but the damage is unreal. Even through the QSS, Carzzy is unable to survive. Now they have double cannons actually in this bottom lane. He's going to eat through these towers very quickly. Summer obviously will help out just a little bit, and Larssen with his empowered damage on towers, but this might just be the game. 20 kills to 7, Betty. Like, it was close. until it wasn't. Rogue shellacking Mad Lions here. And this team is looking much more like the team that we saw end the regular season in first place. They are stating a claim on that finals weekend. They want a match versus G2. They want to prove that they are one of the best teams here in Europe, and they continue just to delete Mad Lions wherever they stand. Rogue with a dominant win in game 2.
All right, a little bit more tense, a little bit closer. Both teams fighting a lot over these Drakes, but while Mad Lions were able to delay and steal away some of these Drakes, it felt like that Rogue were consistently in a better position. They were able to keep the game relatively even. They were able to mitigate some of the early deficits that they found themselves in, and they just outplayed Mad in a lot of these team fights. And we talked about how these fights were going to be difficult, and I think that Rogue did a great job of recognizing where they could turn around, where they could set up these dives, and every time that they could punish the Mad Lions.
And as much as both these teams have qualified for Worlds and both these teams will be representing Europe there, this sort of series really can be a statement of intent from teams. You know, a lot of people were doubting Rogue. I for one, was like, I want to see Rogue have a good series in playoffs, because otherwise, when it comes to Worlds, I do doubt how strong they can be. But this sort of series really puts them up in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, they should. I think that many people, at least many of the analysts, have been saying that Rogue is a team you still have to respect. Yep. You know, like, there's still a lot of young players. Yes, they were pretty rigid in their approach and style versus Fnatic, but they're showcasing they do have more picks. And while this game was a little bit slower, and I do think that Mad was set up for success 100%. In the early game. They really could have gotten a much bigger advantage. They could have snowballed. And then we didn't really see the typical Mad Lions that we usually see, where they're constantly forcing fights, skirmishes, looking for picks. And I think that they need to shift this playstyle up if they want to go toe-to-toe with Rogue, because now they're down 2 games. Their chances of getting the at the very least, third place spot at the end of the LEC season is now much further away, and they need to make the reverse sweep a reality. But right now, Rogue is looking clean, Rogue is looking good, and looking to face G2 next week.
Yeah, right now, Rogue are looking unstoppable so far in this series, and after the break, we'll get more insight from a special guest. Thank you.
Our teams are so good this year.
I can't believe they actually made it. Woo! What? It's what champions eat.
Beko Harvest Fresh preserves vitamins for longer by simulating the natural 24-hour sun cycle. Beko, eat like a pro.
Have a bite. It's good.
Charged up. Hello, everybody. Let the game begin.
welcome back to the LEC Playoffs. Laure here, joined by Comp from Vitality to help me debrief this game. Kind of hi, Comp. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, hello.
Hey, so first things first, how are you? Are you enjoying the off-season so far?
Trying to enjoy the off-season, yeah.
Nice. Nice. So I called you today to talk about League again. I am sorry, but we have a really cool series ongoing. Rogue is on to match point here against Mad Lions. And I want to talk about the draft first here, if we can see it for 1 second. Especially about the adaptation from Mad Lions from game 1 to game 2. They were playing red side on game 1, blue side on game 2. And we can see that the only ban they kept is Gangplank. They removed Evelynn and Lucian after what happened in game 1. And I want to have your opinion about this. What do you think about the comp Mad Lions choose here and how it matches against a Rogue?
So basically, those two team comps pretty much they are trying to play like G2 versus Fnatic yesterday, where one team plays full scaling jungler and overall really good team fighting, and the other one is really early game focused, which they want to put Hecarim behind, right? So I feel like that's how 2 games in a row now, that's what's happening. That's what Mad are trying to do, but unfortunately, it has not worked out for them well for now.
No, it didn't. And I mean, they had good engaged tools, especially to defend objective, which to me has been kind of the low point for Mad here, the defense of neutral objectives such as Dragons and Nashor. And I want to talk to you about the Baron here this game. We're going to roll the clip in a second, because you can see that Mad Lions were not ready to take this fight. And I mean, they've been trying to go over Rogue to take the objective, and in the end, Rogue got it. So talk me through this clip and why you think Mad Lions failed here.
So, I mean, first of all, Shadow died, stealing the Drake, right? So Rogue, knowing this information that he's still dead for some seconds and he will be far away, they know that even they don't really have really good DPS on the Nash, right? So the right call is for them to turn, and they also probably have the information that most of Mad Lions members don't have flashes up, so it's pretty much easy to bait the Nash into engage back, since Mad didn't have a lot of vision.
Yeah, and exactly. I wanted to mention the vision here. And after Rogue take the objective here, when you look at the state of the game, do you think Mad Lions could have climbed back and take the victory in the end, or was it doomed for them?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's doomed. Maybe they could find some picks, make the game like G2 and Fnatic yesterday, right? So there was for sure maybe some plays that could happen, but overall I feel like the chance of them, of how the game has developed until then, it's really hard for them to come back, since I said earlier, I feel like they draft for a lot of early game, right? So they need to, I feel like they need to have higher leads leading into the mid game for the next games if they continue like that.
Yeah, I agree. And this is my last point here. Mad Lions will be playing blue side here in game 3. Anything you can expect from them when it comes to drafting and also in game? Any mistakes they can correct?
Yeah, so I mean, not only in game, I feel like in draft, maybe they will do like what it did to Fnatic, that they will start banning both Evelynn and Hecarim, and maybe put Inspired on more of a supportive role again. But I'm pretty sure Rogue pretty much learned from the Fnatic game, and they will also have more picks, and I'm pretty sure they will continue drafting like that, carry jungler. So, I mean, the best thing for Matt is either they draft like that again and they execute better early to mid game, or they try to match carry jungler with carry jungler and see who comes out of on top.
All right, and Block Inspired also here. Okay, last question. Who wins this one? Rogue, and can they take it 3-0?
I think, yeah, Rogue will win it, but I actually think Matt still have some stuff to show, so in my opinion, it will go 3-1 for Rogue. 3-1
for Rogue. We'll see that in a few minutes, but Comp, thank you very much for joining me today, and have a wonderful off-season. We'll see you next year.
Thank you. See you.
And we're going to take a break, and we'll come back in a few minutes for hopefully a series, otherwise Game 3. See you soon, guys.